Hey everybody, it's Shadowstar and Crystal here for another hour review. This time, it's episode 15 of Season 2, The Promise. And yes, this is our flashback-centric episode of the season. So, well, it's a whole Slade episode.
Yeah, I really hate him.
Yeah, like I said, I'm gonna say, I know a lot of people love Slade, and up until this point I have. But I've never cared for what happens from this point to the end of Season 2. That being said, now, as exciting, as crazy as the flashbacks were, I really enjoyed the present stuff more.
Yes!
I enjoyed the present scene more, and we'll talk about that. Obviously, as we saw in the last episode, Slade is at the house, and we have some scenes of him walking around, and you just gotta give it to the acting and the scene. You could just capture how tense it is for everyone.
Yeah. It's funny because Oliver and Slade have to pretend they don't know each other, and then Roy and Sarah show up, and...
I do love the scene where Oliver calls, and then instantly Sarah hears a voice.
Yeah. But what if Felicity wasn't in the same room as Sarah? Then
Well,
she wouldn't have recognized the voice.
Why didn't anyone else answer the phone?
Okay, but that means that Oliver knew that Felicity's phone was in the room with the others.
I don't know. Whatever. Anyway...
Why didn't he just call Sarah directly?
It was still a good scene. And also, Roy was on the team, because he hasn't really been on the team since he joined the team.
He was training.
We finally got a full team of Sarah and Roy and the main team.
Even Slade knew Roy was on the team.
Well, yeah.
I love that look he gave him, like he knew.
Well, yeah, because Roy, I would imagine Slade would know Roy was given Mirakuru because he's in charge of everything. And I love that little bit between Slade and Roy, even though they don't really know each other.
That handshake. Yeah. They both say it's a strong handshake.
Oh, God, that was such a good scene. But yeah, I just love the intense acting of everyone's holding back a secret, everyone's biting their tongue. Oh, man, the present was so good. And then
Slade knows more than he lets on because, he knew Diggle was there.
I know. I don't know how he knew that.
He's a million steps ahead.
I'm 10 steps ahead of you and you don't even know what game we're playing.
Yes.
We'll get to that quote.
And then at the end, we see he's got cameras on him everywhere.
Yeah, I love that when he was checking all the paintings and the art sculptures and whatever, he was planting cameras everywhere.
Yeah, I know this came first, but it just makes me think of Season 1 of Flash, because
we'll get to that. But enough about that. But that's pretty much it. I mean, I really enjoyed the acting, and I really loved how... I don't know if it was music or tone or what they did. I can't figure it out, but you could just capture how tense the scenes were.
Yeah, definitely.
But, that wasn't the action-packed stuff. The action-packed stuff was the flashback, which...
I quite enjoyed, actually, the beginning of the flashback.
I know,
we were actually, having fun watching him shoot the arrows and be like, oh, almost there. It
opens with a scene of Oliver training on the island, and God, that was just a fun scene, because we haven't had much scenes of Oliver on his own, and it really shows how... It really does... the first half really shows how far we've come in terms of flashbacks.
Yeah.
You really see Oliver training, and you know what? Like I said, it's up until the breaking point of Slade, I still enjoy Slade, and I did like the line where, right before they're about to take the freighter... He says, to think we started this as strangers and now we're brothers.
And then he just throws all that out the window.
We'll get to that, but I still enjoyed that line in that moment.
I mean, like you said last season when I was talking about Malcolm and you said that's what makes a villain is flawed logic. I just hate how he goes to all this trouble to make all of his life miserable, all because he blames him for Shadow's death.
At least we can say it's the Mirakuru doing it, but still.
True.
At least
it's messing with his judgment.
Exactly, but... yeah. But like I said, the opening scenes with them, camping out the night before... We got some good scenes. We got some good scenes with Oliver and Sarah and the three of them together. And I did like the fact that they called back to the first time they tried to get off the island, because that was the Odyssey, which was the first flashback-centric episode. To think it's been, for them, it's been roughly a whole year. A whole year of Oliver and Slade on the island teaming up and having crazy stuff happen.
Yeah.
It's been, oh man. like I said, the flashbacks in season 1 and 2 are really good. Still, I'm not saying this wasn't as good as the Odyssey, but I still love this episode. It's not amazing, but it was still
I might have
action-packed.
even liked it better than Odyssey. I don't know.
I don't know, it was a lot. I feel like it
I
was
wish
more.
I could check what I rated Odyssey.
Yeah, I think I gave Odyssey like an 8 or a 9. But anyway, there was a lot in this episode because obviously we're going back to the freighter, which means we get to see the prisoners again, namely Anatoly.
Yeah.
And he's back with them because remember they all escape at the end.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I said, I just love Anatoly. He's such a good character.
I liked the guy that had a little mouse friend.
Anatoly always just has some good deadpan lines, but a good scene I love is when we find out. They always like to do this thing where something happens and then we flash back to see more because we got that with the like the lie detector scene or whatever.
Oh yeah, the truth serum.
That was such a good scene.
And then we flash back to Sarah explaining that it won't work on him.
I know, I love it. It reminds me a little bit of the interrogation scene in episode 5.
Yeah, I understand a little.
Like how he has very clever lies that sound perfectly like the truth but aren't quite.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing. He starts off telling everything true, and then he just slips, and then he lies when he says they're on the boat when they're not on the boat yet.
Yeah, he's acting like he's trying to trick it by going like,
Because he does give truths and say, yeah, the bonfire was a distraction and a trick and all that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it does. But then it just gets completely action-packed crazy, because then we get a scene where Oliver confronts Ivo, and then Slade confronts Ivo and learns the truth.
Apologies if the recording caught my phone vibrating.
But anyway, that to me is the breaking point of Slade. He's not all. That's the thing. I always enjoy Slade as an ally. He still makes a really good villain, though. The best villain is someone that always feels like they've got everything planned, and Slade is one of them.
Yeah, that was something I found interesting about Malcolm, was how sure of everything he was.
Yeah, Slade's another one where he always feels like he's got
so
a plan.
far ahead. I think that's why I liked season 1 of Flash so much, too.
We'll get to that. Stop rushing ahead.
I know.
But it's hard to say what to talk about because, like I said, the whole episode is flashbacks and it is action-packed. There is a lot of action scenes, which the flashbacks have been missing for a few episodes. The flashbacks hadn't done much. I mean, I liked the last episode, though.
Yeah.
But, yeah, we're obviously, like Odyssey was the turning point for the flashbacks in season 1, this is the turning point where now we know Ivo... That's the thing, up until now, Ivo was the villain. But now, Slade is the villain in both flashback and present. It's the only time where the flashback and the present have the same villain.
Yeah.
Although we did have Ivo for the first half, but still, now we've got Slade as going on a villainous rampage, and now we have the calm and cool but still angry Slade in the present. And that's the difference. Even though he's still got the Mirakuru, you can see the difference of, in the flashback, he's completely off the rails.
Yeah, he can sort of control it.
Whereas in the present, he's so calm because he's got everything planned.
You'd think something like that would get out of your system eventually, so I'm thinking, has he been giving himself more over the years?
We'll find out more what happens with the Mirakuru, but yeah, it's interesting how the Mirakuru works. But all in all, it was an action-packed, and it was better than I remembered it.
It is so hard to decide what to rate it.
It was, that's the thing, before I started this episode, I was thinking, oh, it's not as good as the Odyssey, but honestly, it might be better than the Odyssey, I think.
I think I'll go 7.5.
I'm probably going to give it a 9, which is on par with the Odyssey. Don't expect this for every flashback-centric episode. In fact, I don't think it will usually be this way for flashback episodes anyway. But this was still a really good one.
Yeah, that was good. I liked it.
I really enjoyed it, and we didn't really get a cliffhanger per se. We just got a lot of
we found out he put cameras.
That's the thing. We mostly just got build up.
Why did they have to show us him without his eye patch?
I'm not showing that.
Yeah, don't put that picture. Some people don't like seeing holes in people's faces.
We'll get to that. But yeah, that was a weird bit, but I don't know why they needed to do that. Sounds wouldn't you want the eye patch on? Isn't that getting infected? Anyway, like I said, it was an action-packed episode. I'm giving it a 9. You're giving it a
7.5.
And that's the thing, there wasn't really a cliffhanger, it was more setting the stage for the last few episodes. Because, now we know Sleet's a villain, now we know what he's up to, kind of. We know he's, we knew he was setting everything up, but now Oliver knows that. And that's also a good point. Because to me, villains come in twos. There's when the audience gets a good sense of what's going on, and then when the hero does. And usually the hero finds out late. Not always, but usually.
Yeah, definitely.
But with that being said,
one more thing I wanted to touch on was there's a shot where we do get to see a name on the side of the boat.
Ah.
Yeah. Amazo. And I was like, where have I heard that? I remember that from somewhere. Probably from future stuff, but still. I looked it up to refresh my memory and yeah, I remember what it is. Should I say anything?
No, I know when this name gets reused.
Yeah. It was interesting because I thought it was something sort of unrelated, but then when I looked it up, I realized it is to do with Ivo.
Yeah, we'll get to that connection way in the future, but I was wondering if you were going to pick up on that. I saw that name and I thought, I'm going to keep that in mind.
Yeah, I saw the name and I'm like, where have I heard that?
But enough about future stuff. Well, except for one future thing. What's the next episode called?
Suicide Squad.
Ah, yes.
I cannot remember what DC characters are in the Suicide Squad.
Well, it depends on what version, but we'll meet the Arrowverse's first version of the Suicide Squad next time. We've kind of been foreshadowing or leading up to it with something that we've seen in the past few episodes.
Okay.
You'll know it when you see it, but we'll get to that. But yes, next time is Suicide Squad, not the movie that's coming out next year, or the movie that came out in 2016.
Yeah, in case you guys haven't noticed, we're not well versed with comics and stuff.
I know a decent amount of stuff. But you don't.
These shows were my introduction to DC as a whole.
Yeah, pretty much.
So everything I know about DC heroes comes from these shows.
Well, next time we will meet the Arrowverse's version of Suicide Squad. Next time!